All right, now that's not always ideal, because if you have a long list of tests like this, if one test fails, you'd really rather it continue and do the subsequent test. You'd like to say, well, this test failed, but let's go do the other tests anyway and see if they pass. So one way you can do that, there's something called try catch, where you put the assert, and in fact, this can be used other ways. Let me show you another way you can use it back in the PowerPoint. I'll come back to that in a second. But whatever block of code might cause an error, it might be an assert, it might just be anything else. If you put it inside this try block, then instead of just a fatal error occurring and the program stops, it'll do whatever in the catch, whatever is in the catch block. All right, so let's say there is no such function as not a function. Or often what happens is you have it in the wrong folder, so MATLAB couldn't find it. Well, normally that would give you a fatal error. It'll say unrecognized function, undefined function, something like that, and stop. But if you put it in the try block, instead, it'll print your warning message. And there's something built into MATLAB called warning, which allows you to print a warning message, and just assign A to a default value. And then it continues. It'll run the rest of the program. And even if maybe there is a function called not a function, but you're not calling it correctly, maybe it requires 3 input arguments, you're only passing it 2, that also would produce an error. That's another thing that'll be trapped here. We sometimes call this error trapping. All right, but for using it with testing, you put the assert in the try block, and in the catch block, you print out a message saying this failed, this test failed. Okay, so in this case, I get assertion failure. Well, that's just my own message now. That's my message that I put in here, assertion failure and score hand. And I say it's supposed to give, or here's the hand, an ace and a 10. And I was expecting 21, but I only got 11. All right, so now since we trapped the error, as we say, it can continue, and then we might have additional tests after that. Okay, just to show you, it did display this message here. All right, so this is how you would do a suite of tests. You'd have a bunch of these try-catch blocks. With each one, you'd have the assert in the try block, and then whatever message you want to display in the catch block. If you look in the ebook, I go through this in some detail, showing you how to do that kind of thing. Now here's a finer point, getting a really kind of advanced now. And again, I go into more details about it in the ebook. But you can actually detect what type of error occurred and print out a different message. All right, so let's say I do score hand. Actually, let me change this back to what it was before. Okay, so I'm asserting that score hand, I pass this hand to it, should give me 21. And I run it, and I get function does not exist because I spelled it wrong. That's not the proper name of the function. It was supposed to be my underscore hand. Okay. All right, so I fixed that. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm changing the wrong thing here. I changed the wrong thing, not my hand. This is what I meant to change, score hand. So this is a different failure. All right, so now this function does exist, but it's still not giving me the right result. So that's a different type of error. So now it says assertion failure. So you put a variable here, and that can just be whatever variable you want, but that will be what's called an exception object. And it has a field, a property called identifier, which is just a string like this that tells you what error it was. Okay, so here are some examples. And in the ebook, I give a longer list of possibilities. But if it's the assertion just failing, it's this one, MATLAB assertion failed. The previous one where I had the wrong function name was this one, MATLAB undefined function. Okay, and there are many other types of these. All right, but that's a pretty advanced technique. We're not going to ask you to do anything like that.